my printer has is running the firmware is called Clipper. So what that does is it runs a Raspberry Pi and running so that's running Linux on a Raspberry Pi, and the firmware then talks to the uh, board and tells the controller what to do, essentially, right? So instead of putting, like Marlin or something right on the actual board itself, you're essentially turning that board into to a slave and using the power of a Raspberry Pi or any other Linux machine in order uh, to run the board, to run the print, right? So the Raspberry Pi, or
How's that going? We're only on YouTube yet?
yeah, I sent the YouTube link. I see everybody. I don't know if there's audio though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's.
I see it here
I
with
know you
audio.
see people, but I don't know if we have audio though.
There's
Yeah,
audio.
versus
It's
there's
working.
audio.
All working. We are live.
That's why I did the
Excellent.
headphones so we don't get the feedback
I'm.
again.
It
I
took
don't
us
want to
long
get
enough.
feedback. I don't want to have an echo. That's what I'm trying to make sure. So I don't want to bring up YouTube and then have echoing again like we had earlier.
Hollywood's making us look bad with all these super hackers who get it right first time. I hate that stuff. I never get it right first time.
Right?
Yeah, every single that's why Git exists. It's just every single Git repository is just a mountain of errors and failures the entire way up. It's like that wasn't done, and then this had broken. It's the entire point.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's working though.
It drives me nuts when you watch these movies and you see these hackers, and they literally like pick up a tablet and click the screen 3 times and they're already in some kind of secured network somewhere, right? That's crap. You know.
Yeah, it's exactly the same with the lockpicking. Like, I went along to the lab, and true to stereotype, the hack lab had lockpick stuff, and I was shocked at how easy it was. But it's never going to be like film easy. Like, I'm in. Like, no, that was 5 minutes fiddling about with something. I mean,
Should
it
I go
was
get my lock picking kit? I just bought one.
all a bunch of stereotypes here.
Right?
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm going to the Hope Conference in a couple of weeks in New York, and they always have a good lock picking village, and I always get wrapped up in other things, and I never end up going there. I really need to make it a point to sit down and figure out how to pick locks.
it, honestly, I bought a lock picking kit uh, just a couple weeks ago for something to work for my hands to do when I'm stuck on a meeting. You get in these meeting calls and you're just sitting there, and you don't want to do anything else that will really take your attention away, from the meeting in case somebody actually asks you a question. So that gives my hands something to do, just to tinker with, right? That's all I bought. It's a fidget toy to me, right?
Fidget spinner. That's how you explain it if you have to go to like a physical meeting. People looking at like, why are you just like, what's the fidget spinner?
Right? I figured, why not learn how to pick a lock while I'm sitting here stuck in a meeting, right?
Yeah, I need to get my own set of tools. It was quite fun when I was playing around with it. And it's also got that nice security aspect. It's like after learning how computer break-ins happen, and they get little models at the hack lab, and people like try and break into an old Windows XP stuff. After you see that, you get a lot more like reflexively freaked out when you see bad infrastructure. I think it was the same with locks for me. Once I like got something open, I've got back home to this place, looked at the front door, went, that's actually fine. That looks really, that's not something you'd want to pick. But then I go around to other places and like that's not good. That's a fake lock, mate. You may as well just stick a picture of one on the door.
Let me tell you exactly how I got into lock picking. When I moved into this house about almost uh, YouTube lock picking, and uh, basically what we did was I looked and they and used a bobby pin and literally raked the lock and opened it. It took probably about what maybe 5 minutes to open this lock, but it was just the whole process of actually getting it open and then actually working right. That I was like, oh, I got to get into this right. So that's when I bought the now I got the lock picking kit and all that. That's kind of what actually drove me into actually wanting to get into it. I lost video. Is that me or is that?
That's it. No, no, we're all good.
No, we're good,
Did
and
see?
I can still see you.
Yeah, must be the thing. You can still see me, okay then, huh?
I
Must
seen
be
a
my.
bit of this with Jitsi. I suspect it's something to do with like bandwidth, because of course one of the big differences between Jitsi and Zoom is that like Jitsi's got to react to different environments all the time, whereas Zoom is just like, no, no, we got a mega funnel straight over to China and then back wherever you are, so it's fine.
I'm watching the server right now, and the server's not under any kind of load. It wouldn't hurt to throw more RAM at it, but it's not under any load at all right now. So
That
So
might be
I
the
take it,
key, though.
hmm.
Key. What about CPUs? How's that doing?
He said he had 40 cores in there, so
Oh, okay.
I'm
Well,
thinking maybe the RAM. But as far as why your video is breaking up, you said you're on Starlink. Have you annoyed Elon at all? Or
not yet.
Did you tweet something mean at me about Elon?
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No, not yet. Um, and honestly, it's doing pretty good right now. I'm getting about 20 to 15 millisecond ping times, and I've only dropped one packet in the past 5 minutes. So it's cleaned up quite a bit. I was fighting it today though. Um, it seems like I got to go reboot it once a week, essentially, and that'll help clean it up a little bit. And I rebooted it earlier today, and sometimes it just takes a little bit because that dish actually moves around, and till it really gets orientated. And it's been working so far.
Speaking of the alternative social media, I started seeing recently maybe a bit of an in for PeerTube. I keep seeing more and more like YouTubers really directly adjusting the content for the algorithm in weird and uncomfortable ways. Like somebody was discussing history. They wanted to bring in history of art, and they put in like, here's the pictures, and then there was just a note over saying, sorry, I had to filter it. So they clearly made the entire video was fine, and at the last minute they'd edited out the Renaissance paintings because there was nudity. Now, this isn't nudity as we'd understand it. Like you go and you see a photograph of Michelangelo, his willy's hanging out. It's fine. That's what the ancient Greeks did. We all understand it's not nudity because he's an athlete or whatever. But the algorithm can't take it. And there were all these little examples of people like not mentioning this or like not like trying to describe a Disney movie in order to make a point, but not putting in 5 seconds worth of content, which would be fine under copyright law because it's fair use and you're commenting on it and it's 5 seconds. But once again, the YouTube
from video conferencing burnout, like so many others. So once a week, like I might show up once a month. But
Okay.
if you're
Well,
if you're here,
and honestly, once a month would probably be more my speed as well because I mean, I get pretty lazy sometimes when I'm done with work. It's like I don't want to be in front of a computer after a while, you know.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. What you might want to do is if you want to, encourage a community, maybe do it once a week and see when people show up. I know last Wednesday of the month is always bad for me. Um, but find out when people show up and then do it on that day of the month, that Wednesday of the month,
Right.
feel it out. So but it's been fun, and I'll talk to all of you next time.
Good to meet you, Murph.
Catch you later.
So Cameron,
Hello. Sorry I'm
hello.
late. It's
Yeah,
just
no
like
worries.
a whirlwind of a day. It's just usual, really. How are you guys?
That's like my normal days.
Yeah.
I'm winding down a fair bit. It's let's see, 3:45 in the morning here in Serbia, but I always stay up late, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's pretty nocturnal.
Yep. Oh, is that? What are those lights? Is that fireworks, guns, or lightning? What's happening?
Oh gosh.
I'm mostly kidding about the last part. They don't have guns unless there's a genocide on.
Well, we hope that's not today. Whoa. It's my
Not for a few years. I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
I'm joking. I'm being a mean. Like I should say. Oh, since I'm live, since we're live, I should say. Yeah, Serbia gets a bad rap in the news. Like the history was bad, but not nearly as bad as everyone makes it out to be. I know they've been cast as the bad guys in quite a number of the Hollywood films.
Well, that's just like everywhere, you know. I go to a different country or something like that. Let's just say, like when I was in Colombia, and everybody asks where you're from. I say Texas. Everybody always knows where Texas is at, right? But they all assume that I ride a horse to work, and
Figure they just pass that around, past the classic ridiculous stereotypes from one place to the next, and there's always options.
right, you know.
I think the Serbians were particularly hurt because they got like quite a number of articles around the time about how evil the entire place was. And if you picture like Hollywood bad guys, usually the accent is like, at one point it was all Eastern. It was like either Russian or it was Serbian. I think they moved to mostly, Afghanistan, Pakistan for the bad guys now, and they'll probably be moving back to Russia soon.
That's about right.
I think it's already moved back to Russia,
Yeah, the films just aren't out yet, but we'll see.
right?
We'll get there.
And
Is
there's always
that the live stream from the YouTubes? I hear an echo of us that's a few minutes old.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Oh,
That
Is somebody
might be
behind
me.
you playing
No.
the YouTube video?
it's my fault. So
No,
sorry.
might be me.
I didn't realize it was playing in the Mastodon chat. How silly.
Oh, that would be true.
so
Bunch
Greg,
of techies trying to sort the stuff out.
I was just asking Greg how he's been doing there. You know, Greg's been with us for a while. He's the one. Greg's the one who keeps the server updated for me. You know, he keeps us running on the latest and greatest and all that. So
Oh, I saw you on the chat. Was it you doing the data recovery after some corruption there, Greg?
There we go.
he was part of that. We got another person, and my brain is fried right now. Nunez.
Everyone was in the hospital, maybe?
Yeah, Nunix, whatever. Um, he gets our harder issues. been doing on and off all my life.
It's pretty cool. You know, you have a story about how hardcore you are.
So
That you installed it from 76 floppy drives. I mean discs.
Right.
It's pretty good.
Should have used IP over Avian at that point. Have you guys seen this protocol, IP over Avian?
nuh-uh.
It was made as it's a real protocol technically. IP over Avian is when you get a carrier pigeon, you sellotape an SD card to its leg, and then it flies over, and the person who gets the pigeon takes out the SD card, sticks it in the computer. Now this was made as a it was made as a protest against how slow internet was in like rural Australia, and it's been used in Scotland. And the point made was that like you can literally transfer information faster by sticking it on a pigeon. And they included the full thing. They included the time to like get the files transferred to the SD card, the time to wrap it around the pigeon's leg, the time for the other person to get it off, upload it to the computer. That was faster than actually downloading the large files and the videos and such. Of course, that's not going to be the case with an email, but it is the case when you're trying to transfer large files across.
It's pretty cool.
So yeah, if you've ever got a big project and low bandwidth, carrier pigeon.
I remember trying to download large files to install software over dial-up, and you would like turn it on overnight, go to bed, and just see if it worked in the morning, and usually it didn't. But
So,
I grew up in the country. We had lousy, you know, well, it was dial-up, and it was bad dial-up.
Yeah.
Oh,
hopefully
yeah.
the
Very
phone,
bad.
Anybody trying to call or
Lucky if you got 10 or 15 gigabytes per second.
yeah. I used to shotgun my modems. So you put two modems, two phone lines, and tie them together and shotgun them. So if one disconnected, you always had a second one constantly running, and if they were both running, you had a little bit more bandwidth. Not a whole lot more, but you know, two modems are better than one, right?
It's pretty
My
cool.
parents love that because I tie up my own personal phone line and my parents' line.
Do you have an intro story, Cameron? How did you get started?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I just heard about it from some nerd people that I knew. I worked in web. I was a very bad web developer um, years ago, and I heard of it like, ooh, Linux is like so cool. And then I developed an addiction to looking for exciting software, and I kept hearing about things that were installable on Linux that I wanted to try. And eventually I got mad at Windows and Mac, and I started installing it, which has only been what, 11 years ago that I first started installing. I'm really sort of I'm a lightweight nerd, but I liked being able to twiddle with things and make it how I wanted to, because, you know, other operating systems are like, oh, you have to do it this way. And I was like, I just got increasingly belligerent. I didn't want to do it that way. So I could make it how I wanted it to be on Linux. And so, you know, I, don't really do anything terribly technical aside from like HTML and like twiddling around with simple things, but I like it to be kind of minimalist and like just freaking do what I want. So, yeah,
Yeah, I feel
that's
like I've
about it.
got I get this really spoilt attitude when I have to use other systems. Where I'll bring up
Exactly.
Windows in a particular way and be like, I didn't want you to be there. I wanted you to be the left. Why aren't you doing what I tell you?
Exactly. Like, why are you tolerating this? This is ridiculous. You know, what I hear other people talking about, I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to be. This is dumb.
And you know, the interesting thing about it is a lot of people who run Linux, they like a very light desktop, right? You know, you'll see that very often. I'm actually the opposite. I like
Mm.
all the pretties. You know, I like all the little effects and all that.
You're
So,
gonna when you exit, it's gonna like burn down the window with fire of flames and.
right, I would do that. I would certainly do that. You know, and so I like putting all those little special effects on. Now, granted, I mean it depends on the computer, right? You know, like I got an old laptop that has it's slow as hell, and
to the first 2 alerts you give me in 1 minute. I'm not going to respond to the third alert in the same minute. Stop bothering me. Just shh. And that's exactly what the script does. It's like 10-minute timeouts. Because if 10 minutes has passed, you might actually go like, oh no, I'm free now. I'll have a wee look at that. But if the machine's like poking you, like on some irritating child, no.
No. It's cool. Yeah, I got really pumped when I found Themix available, which is all GUI stuff, so y'all will be like, whatever. But I could adjust all of the different colors, and you can make it all kinds of atrocious or different things. Because I have big opinions about colors, and I always want things to be kind of soft and not too bright and not too dark. So I was excited that I can install, and just adjust it all to be exactly how I feel like. And so I was pretty pumped about that. They have all kinds of built-in
YouTube video?
Do what?
You want me to stop the YouTube streaming?
Yeah, you can go ahead and stop it. We're already